The way we make decisions can make or break us. So, how do we get better at decision making? In this video, we're going to chat about something that literally shapes every aspect of our lives. From the big life-altering choices to those tiny daily decisions we don't even think about. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 absolutely brilliant books that will transform the way you make decisions. I've read them all, and believe me, they've got some insights you won't want to miss. So, grab a cuppa, get comfy, and let's dive in. Alright, first up, we've got Decisive. How to Make Better Choices in Life and Work by Chip Heath and Dan Heath. Now, if you're not familiar with Heath brothers, they've got a knack for breaking down complex topics into something that's not only understandable but also actionable. And that's exactly what they've done here with decision making. So, what's the main idea of Decisive? The Heath brothers argue that our traditional approach to decision making is fundamentally flawed. We often fall into predictable traps like narrow framing, where we see choices in a binary way, or confirmation bias, where we only look for information that supports our existing beliefs. Sound familiar, right? They introduced this concept called the RAP process, which stands for widen your options, reality test your assumptions, attain distance before deciding, and prepare to be wrong. Each step is about overcoming these decision-making biases and leading you to better choices. What I love about this book is how practical it is. The Heath brothers don't just tell you what's wrong, they actually give you tools to fix it. And it's all backed by solid research and engaging real-world examples, which make the content stick. But here's the thing, sometimes I feel the book could have dived a bit deeper into some of the concepts. It's like they scratched the surface, but there's more that could have been explored. But overall, Decisive is a must-read if you want to start making smarter decisions immediately. It's practical, easy to digest, and you can apply the lessons straight away. How did you find the video so far? If you found it useful, please consider liking and subscribing if you haven't already. Next on the list is Thinking in Bets. Making Smarter Decisions When You Don't Have All the Facts by Annie Duke. Now, this one's a bit different because Annie Duke isn't your typical author. She's a former professional poker player, so she knows a thing or two about making decisions under uncertainty. The crux of thinking in bets is a lot like poker. You're constantly making decisions with incomplete information and you can't control the outcome. What you can control, though, is the decision-making process. Duke encourages us to think in bets, meaning we should always consider the probability of different outcomes and weigh our decisions accordingly. One of the things that struck me in this book is the idea that we shouldn't judge decisions based solely on the outcomes. Just because something worked out doesn't mean it was the right decision. There's a lot of luck involved, after all. Instead, we should evaluate the decision-making process itself. Was it logical? Did we consider all the relevant factors? Now, this book really makes you think how you evaluate your choices and the results. But I'll be honest, some parts of the book can feel a bit repetitive. Duke drives her point home, which is great, but at times it feels like she's hammering the same nail a bit too much. That said, the insights are invaluable, especially if you're someone who struggles with uncertainty and tends to overthink decisions. It's a game changer in how you approach risk and uncertainty in everyday life. Moving on, we've got The Paradox of Choice, Why More is Less by Barry Schwartz. Now, this one might resonate with anyone who's ever felt overwhelmed at the supermarket trying to pick out a cereal. Do you go for the healthy option, the one on sale, or the one that just looks tasty? And why does it feel like such a struggle? Schwartz's main argument is that having too many choices can actually lead to anxiety and dissatisfaction. In a world where we're constantly bombarded with options, Schwartz suggests that more choice isn't necessarily better. It can lead to decision paralysis, where we're so overwhelmed by the options that we either make poor decisions or avoid making a decision altogether. He introduces concepts like the maximizer and the satisficer. A maximizer needs to make sure they're making the absolute best choice, which often leads to stress and regret. A satisficer, on the other hand, looks for the good enough option, which tends to lead to greater happiness. The Paradox of Choice is brilliant in highlighting the psychological impact of our modern, choice-saturated world. However, one critique I have is that book can feel a bit dated in places. Some examples are a tad old, given how fast our world moves, but the core ideas are still spot on. and incredibly relevant today, especially with the constant barrage of options we face in our digital age. Alright, now let's talk about smart choices, a practical guide to making better decisions. This one is a bit of a classic in the decision-making genre, and for good reason. Hammond, Ralph Keeney, and Howard Raiffa are absolute legends when it comes to decision theory, and in this book, they've distilled their decades of research into a guide that's both comprehensive and accessible. The core of smart choices is a framework called PROACT, which stands for Problem, Objectives, Alternatives, Consequences, and Trade-offs. This framework is all about breaking down decisions into manageable parts so that you can tackle them systematically rather than emotionally. They also stress the importance of clarity in decision making, being clear about what you want and what your options are. What's great about smart choices, in my opinion, is that it's very methodical. It's almost like a workbook where you can apply the concepts to your own decisions as you read. The step-by-step nature of the framework makes it less overwhelming, especially if you're dealing with complex or high-stakes decisions. On the flip side though, the book can sometimes feel a bit too formal or academic. The structure is incredibly useful, but if you're looking for something with a more narrative style, it might feel a bit dry. But if you're serious about improving your decision-making skills, the Smart Choices is like having a personal decision coach right on your bookshelf. And finally, we have the Decision Book, 50 Models for Strategic Thinking by Mikael and Tschäppeler. This one's a bit of a wild card, literally. It's structured as a collection of 50 different models that you can use for decision making, strategic thinking, and understanding yourself better. The beauty of the Decision Book lies in its versatility. Whether you're dealing with a personal dilemma or professional challenge, there's a model in here that can help. The models are concise, each explained in just a couple of pages, with illustrations that make them easy to grasp. It's like a toolkit for your brain. Each model is a tool you can pull out whenever you need it. However, because it covers so many different models, the depth of each is a bit limited. You get a broad overview, but if you're looking for a deep dive, you might find yourself wanting more. That said, it's a fantastic starting point if you're looking to expand your decision-making repertoire, or if you need quick guidance on the fly. So, there you have it, 5 incredible books that will seriously elevate your decision-making skills. Whether you're looking for practical tools, a new perspective, or just a deeper understanding of how we make choices, these books have got you covered. If you found this video helpful, I think watching that one might be interesting for you as well. Until next time, take care and keep learning.